Hello, everybody. This is Heather. Um, I'm I'm hoping we're not having an echo. We might. I got a new little thing, so maybe that took care of it. We got a new little stand, and so we're going to try doing it this way. Maybe it might make it a little easier that I'm actually looking at you instead of looking down or whatnot. Um, we got a new stand for the phone. So this week, since I did not receive any comments from you guys on things that you wanted to see me do or anything like that, and I understand things don't always cooperate, and I know I'm an itty bitty little channel, and that's fine. So basically, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I want to make me a big fluffy cardigan. And so I've settled on this one called Faux Knit Cardigan. And it's designed by Anastasia Smith, and you can get it on Ravelry, which is where I always recommend getting my patterns from. I will link it down below in the descriptions. But I thought that I would go over how I start, how I basically get my pattern ready before starting to crochet or knit an item that has multiple sizes. And by that, I mean more than just two. Because if there's only two sizes, then I know it's just an automatic adjustment in my brain when I go looking at the pattern to either pick one or the other. But when they have several different sizes, and this one goes all the way from an XXS, which I believe is extra, extra small, all the way up to a 6X. So there are quite a few sizes in there, and I don't need a 6X. I don't even really need a 5X. I'm actually more like in between a 2 and a 3X. But since I want this to be big and comfy and cozy, I'm going to make a 4X. Yeah. If I was going to wear this outside of the house, then I would wear a 3X because I would be, to me, I would look more presentable. I don't like how I look in a bulky weight sweater or cardigan. If I was going to make this something that I was going to wear outside of my house, then I would be knitting this up in like a worsted weight or DK or fingering, nothing bigger than a worsted. And if I would not kick my stand, it probably would work a little better. So what we're doing here is we are going to go over the pattern, how I get the patterns ready. Realize I don't print out my paper patterns. All my patterns are basically on my iPad, and I use, and I'll go over the app that I use in that, and I'll show you the setup in it also. So that way you know exactly the pattern that I'm using, how I'm doing it, and maybe this will help you with yours. But I thought we would just, I'm not going to sit here and show you the pattern page by page or how to do it. But I figured every week until I figure out where I want to go with this, we'll spend 30 minutes crocheting this together. And if you want to follow along and make it yourself, like I said, the pattern will be below, linked below. I think the pattern is like $6-7, and it's a bulky weight pattern. I did do a gauge swatch on the actual pattern stitch that supposed to make it look like a knit. I don't really like it, so honestly, I'm just going to do mine in half double crochets. I am going to be making some modifications to this as I go through it because I want mine to be a little longer. I'm going to probably change the way the sleeves are because I'm going to want a little bit, I think I'm going to try to do a little bit of gathering right here to make it a little tighter. I may extend the sleeves out to where I can make a little hole to turn it into fingerless mitts. So there will be modifications into this, but the biggest modification that I can tell you right now that we're going to do is basically we're changing the stitch. She has a knit stitch look in this crochet. Yes, this is crocheted. But I am going to just do a half double crochet because I did a gauge swatch on it and I just really did not like how it looked. And honestly, if I don't like how a stitch looks, then I'm not going to sit here and do it. And the simple fact is that I prefer to knit big projects rather than crochet big projects. So if I don't, and to me, a cardigan is a big project. So if I don't make this a stitch that I can either do it mindlessly or enjoy doing, I won't ever work on this. And I really would like to have this by the time next winter comes. So I need to get working on it because I have a commissioned shawl that I have to make. I have a hat I need to make. And my sister-in-law and brother-in-law has informed me that they may need another baby blanket. Don't know for sure, but you know, what can I say? So we have those three things to get to, and I need to get JR's blanket done. So I got a whole pile of stuff I need to do, but I need to do something that's crochet so I can keep you guys with me. So this is what we're doing. We are going to make this cardigan one way or the other, and I expect you guys to hold me accountable. So give me just a second to get my cameras flipped and everything, and we will go over getting this pattern set up. Okay, so we are back, and yeah, I'm sorry, my desk is very messy today. I apologize. And if I had been able to record this on my normal day, you wouldn't have seen all this. So I see there's the rest of the mess. Okay, so I keep a very messy desk. Okay, so if you print out paper patterns, which I have right here in front of us, this pattern is the Faux Knit Cardigan by Anastasia Smith. She designed this in 22 to 23. I don't know if you can read all that. Because I think if I put my camera down any further, my camera is going to sit here and yell at me. Like I said, bear with me. We're working with a whole new setup. Apparently, JR is going to need to give me some lights up above and turn off the sink. Hold on. Okay. So the battle of the lights has been fixed, as you can tell. Okay. So if you print out pattern paper patterns, which is what I have right here, I think this is the first pattern I've printed out in 3 or 4 months because I usually just use my iPad, but I wanted to go over this with you. So what we're looking for now is we're looking for this page that is basically your material list. Okay. And if you can see right there, it sits here and tells you that you need number 5 bulky weight yarn. Okay. And what I usually do is when I notice that I'm going to need multiple things, I will sit here and oh, there we go. Always works when we find the zooms. I will sit here and go through here and take a pen. What you'll need is your pen, a pen or pencil, a highlighter. These are the two things that I cannot live without if I'm using paper patterns. Okay. And this will come into effect in a minute. What I do is as I go through here, I will sit here and go, okay, do I have all the yarn that I need? Okay, well, I know that I need bulky weight yarn. Okay, I've got that. And usually in the materials list, as with everything else, it'll sit here and tell you how much you need here. But in this situation, since there are so many sizes, it's sitting here down here telling you. So anyway, I know that I have the bulky weight yarn, so I put a check by it. Okay, a size in crochet hook. Got that baby right there. Scissors. Got those right here. She says she needs 2 stitch markers. Well, between my little cup here and my big cup here, I think I'm covered. And that's not even all of them. So I got 2 stitch markers. I'm going to go ahead and give me a green and a purple. So that way I have 2 different colors. And a tapestry needle. Okay, I don't have that right at my hand in hand, but I do have it. Okay, so now, as we move to the next section, it sits here and says size and measurements. Okay, it goes from extra small, which fits a bust size of 24-inch to 26. Ha, I wish. Sorry, ladies, if you're an extra small, trust me, I'm very jealous. Extra small is a 28 to 30. Again, I wish. A small is a 32 to 34. A medium is 36 to 38. A large is a 40 to 42. An XL is a 44 to 46. A 2X is a 48 to 50. In all honesty, that is would be my actual size if I made this true to size. I'm not making squat true to size. I plan on wearing this over clothing and things like that. So I'm going to give myself a few more inches. A 3X, which is the size that I would actually wear if I went out, took this out, wore it out in public, which is a 52 to 54. A 4X is a 56-inch to 58-inch. This is the size that I'm going to choose to make. So since that is the size that I want to make, I want to sit here and take my highlighter, and then I want to highlight each one of these little areas so that way I can look at a drop of a hat, just glance at that and say, oh, okay, so my back panel needs to be a width of 29 inches. Okay? Yeah, we went with the shorty nails this week. Okay. So that also tells me that as I go through here, if you look right up here, this is how a lot of designers will sit here and put in their different sizes. They will put the main or the first size in the normal, and then in parentheses, separated by commas, they will put each size. And from there, they usually will change the color of each size. Okay, so we're going to make a 4X here, which means it's this little green one right here. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that. That tells me that as I go looking through this pattern, I need to look for that green, which is the 4X size. That color will always be a 4X size in the pattern. Okay, so I did this gauge and got spot on pretty much, or as close as I need to be, as I want to be in with this in hook. Now, let me tell you something. Sweaters and clothing, things that you are actually going to put on your body. This is not like a scarf, not like a hat, not like mittens, gloves, socks. You need to take your measurements. You need to do your gauge swatch. Okay? Because the last thing you want to do is knit or crochet this scarf, this cardigan, and find out it's either too big or too small. You don't want to spend all that time doing it and realize that, oh shoot, this doesn't fit. Okay. I did this last week, so mine is all done. I don't have it to show you because I usually do them, tie them off a little bit, do the wash and the dry, and then I yank them back out and reuse the yarn. That's just me. Okay, so now it gets down here. You see this yardage, approximate yards. She's not guaranteeing 100% that this yarn is exact amount that you need. That is not what she is saying. Okay, she is telling you this is the approximate amount that you will use. In my opinion, it is always better to have too much yarn rather than not enough. So I'm also going to sit here and highlight this, that I am making the 4X. I need 1,700 yards if I did not make any modifications. I'm making modifications, so I actually think I have like a skein or two more than I need, which I know this is probably, just one second, JR, Eddie just invited you to a group.
Night owls.
So you might want to advise him, give me just a few minutes. This tells you also right down here, I apologize. This is Monday night. Tuesday night that I am making this. I usually do this on Mondays when JR is not home. But JR is home tonight and I didn't get a chance to get it done yesterday. I was sick. So it says also here, down here at the bottom, it says number of skeins. Okay, this is if you use this brand of yarn. She used the Lion brand You Plus Me in Desert to make this. I'm not using that yarn. So I cannot, this right here is useless to me. This tells me I need 13 skeins of the Hue and Me. Well, the yarn that I am using, I'm just using cheap mainstays from Walmart, Chanel yarn. I don't need 13 of them. I only need like 7 or 8 of them to get the 1,700 yards. I have 9. Plus, I can always buy more. But if I don't use all 9, then more likely whatever I don't use, I'll take back to Walmart. Okay, so we've got all that done. So now we go to the next section, which of course is going to be the abbreviations. Go through there, make sure you know how to do them all. Same simple. Read through your notes. Okay. And then we get to this fun page. I'm going to lose my pages here. Okay. This is the starting of the pattern. Okay. We are going to work the back panel first. Okay. So right here, we'll show you exactly what I mean. As you go through the pattern, it says here, see, this one is going to be the XX small, because if you remember back here on the color legend, XX small was black and just in a normal area. Okay. We are doing a 4X, which means we have to look, I have to look for this green green color font. And I'm going to, and since I have it highlighted here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this document here, and I'm going to go over and look through all these little lines right here until I see one that matches the green that I highlighted over on the sizes and the measurements. Okay, so that would be this 58 right here. Okay, so I'm going to go through and highlight it. And if you look down here, she gives you the counts of how many you're supposed to have. Okay, there's that same color font. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. And then I'm going to go through my pattern, and everywhere that has multiple colors of yarn throughout the entire pattern, that sits here and tells you, oh, you need to double check and make sure that you are doing the correct number of repeats, have the correct number of inches, have the correct number of stitches, and I will go through that and do it throughout the whole pattern. Okay, So that way, as I'm going through the pattern, I can just sit here and say I'm on this row 5 here on the right side. So I know to do this chain 1, single crochet, same stitch, repeat that all the way across. And when I'm done, I know to count back and see, oh, I need to make sure I have 57 stitches. So I can go back through and count those 57 stitches. Okay? So that's what I do for paper. Like I said before, I don't use paper. I use my iPad. And the way that I use on the iPad, I use an app right down here. This is called Knitting Help, if I remember correctly. Ooh boy. Knit Companion. I'm sorry. This is Knit Companion. It is an app, but you can get it for free. You can pay to have it to be able to sync across devices. This is a well worth app, in my opinion. If you have an iPad, this is a well worth app in order of using it. So as you can see here, this is basically all the patterns I'm either working on or am scheduled to work on. Most of them. Some of them I may be done with and I just haven't cleaned out my thing. But I already have a project set up for the faux knit, which is right here. Okay. So you get your whole entire pattern. And it also has a highlight saying right here that you can move. So it goes on, you can move it to every time you change to a row, which I absolutely adore. So anyway, I have already gone and marked up mine because you can click this little thing right over here and then click down here on the bottom and it'll give you a section. And I have a highlighter already in here. And honestly, I don't like yellow highlighter. So I change the color no matter what. So as we can see, I have gone ahead and highlighted my, did I highlight the 4X on this one? Apparently I highlighted this one wrong. So all I'll do is go through and I'll erase my highlight since I did it wrong, since I highlighted the wrong one. And then I'll choose the highlight back again. And since I want to do a 4X, then I just have to highlight the 4X. Okay. It's not a biggie. And so then I do the same thing that I do on the paper panel. I go through here and mark every single one that I want to use. And you can also even enlarge this and make it small again. So I will just go through and I am making a 4X. So that means I need to go through and change my thing. And as I go through, as I work, I can sit here and add extra highlights that I don't need to add. I can sit here and move my or do that and close it on accident. I am still fiddling with this pattern, this app. It is well worth it, but beyond the point of just moving things around, I'm still working on learning it. It does require a learning curve. I can sit here and move this highlighted section to whatever row that I'm on and not have to worry one iota about it. So right now, I have actually gone ahead and done this row 1 right now. Oh, no. I have chained my 58. That is all I have done. All I have done is chained my 58, and I thought I'd give you a little tip on how I managed to this thing. The first step in this sits here and tells us to chain however many you need. Since the paper doesn't take as much space as the tablet, let's move to it. So the first step is this here and tells us is to chain however many you need, and do that, and then single crochet in the back loop. Okay, I hate back loops. Okay, when they'd sit here and tell you to chain in the back loop of your crochet chains, you notice you have, this is how I am interpreting this, because almost every single garment does it this way. This is my chain. Ignore the stitch markers. Okay, you have 2 loops here in the front, one here, one here. Okay, if you turn it over, there is also 1 loop back here in the back. Okay, well, when I'm crocheting through that loop, it is a pain to find it while I am moving down my chain. So what I do is I sit here, and here's my loop. So it says to chain, single crochet in the back loop, the second chain from the hook, and each chain across. So all I've done is I've taken 67 stitch markers, and I have gone through and grabbed each and every single back loop. So now as I go through to make it, all I have to do is find that back loop and stick my hook in it. This makes it a lot easier for me. This is a trick that I can't remember who showed. I can't remember if I saw it online or just determined it myself, or if my mother showed me, which I can't really think my mother did it because she only did 1 stitch and that was it. So I think it may be something I either picked up on myself or picked up on the internet somewhere. But that's how you do that. So basically, if you're following along with me, all I am going to do this week is basically I am just going to go and do this row 1 all the way. And since I am not going to do the original stitch, I am going to make a note here, no knit or V-stitch, just half double crochets, because that's all I'm going to do in this. Because I did not really like the stitch in this yarn. The stitch is beautiful when I do it like in a worsted weight, but when I did it in the bulky weight that I have, it just doesn't look good. So basically, I am just going to do half double crochets until my back panel is close to 11 inches, which you can see right over here on rows 6 to 7. It tells you to repeat rows 4 and 5 11 more times for a total of 27 back rows, or back panel rows, because we're just doing the back panel right now, or until you reach close to, for my size, 11 inches. So I am just going to basically do half double crochets back and forth until I hit 11 inches. And then, so we also, that's something she didn't put in the materials, did she? Yeah. You also need a tape measure, a ruler or a tape measure. She didn't put that in there. So that's another thing you need to have. So basically all I'm going to do this week on this is I've already chained my 58 and I've got my back loops marked. So now I'm going to go ahead and in the second chain from the hook, I am going to do this first row in single crochets, but after that, all the other rows were going to be in half double crochets. So that's all I am going to do this week. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and promise. You didn't see that. I am not going to sit here and promise that I'm going to get all 11 inches done. Um, but we'll come back next week and see. And as far as what I just removed from the screen, yes, my fibro causes too much pain, and that is why that's there. But I don't recommend anybody doing it. That is, I honestly didn't see it on my desk. So that's where we're at here. I apologize for my mistake that I had left on my desk. So I will be back next week. And once again, the pattern will be down below. If you want to come along on this pattern with me, you're more than welcome to. I would love to join you. I would love to have you join me, or however you want to do it. But until we get this done, this is probably going to be the main focus of Crochet the Beginning for a while. Okay, so happy crocheting, and I will see you next week.